there's a model out there that says change the behaviours and the mindset will change, which will affect the culture. Is this true or false? Pete Drucker, the famous management consultant, said culture eats strategy for breakfast. There's another famous popular quote that says, move your ass and the mind will follow. The interesting thing about change is we humans hate change. We don't like it. We like homeostasis. We like comfort. Change is tricky. It's challenging. It takes us out of our comfort zone. It triggers fear. There's uncertainty. We as humans don't like uncertainty. And if we're in a warm, comfortable job, why would we want change? Cultural change in an organization. Culture is how we do stuff around here. Trying to change that, the larger the organization it is, the harder it's going to be. And I've worked with multinationals. I've worked with clients and I've worked in an 80,000 person organization. I've worked with clients of 150, 200,000 people. Changing the culture there is pretty impossible. I've worked with some very large consultancies and they say there's a culture, but they're not. They're individual fiefdoms under a managing partner. And so what you end up is multiple different cultures. So how are you going to change culture? Whoa. By changing how things are done. Now, this is where a lot of Agile adoptions have failed miserably because somebody's come in and gone, oh, on Tuesday, we'll all be Agile. You will all follow this process. And then it's cookie cutter and it's just follow this pattern, follow this tried and tested 4-step formula. And you get your layers of consultants. So you get a strategic consultant in that talks to the board. And then you have layers of consultants down to some poor bugger at the bottom who's actually implementing the change with the team. But no one really believes in it. And one of the funniest comments I ever received while I was working on an adoption was very talented engineer turned around to me and making a brew in the morning and said to me, yeah, this is the latest fad. We'll play the game, but we'll just crack on with our work. It's okay. In 6 months, you'll be gone and then we'll just roll with the next fad. What was interesting is that by changing some fundamental behaviors that were helpful to the teams, helpful to the people, helpful to the product, and those changes survived multiple management rollouts. So there's some very clear evidence that if we can help people do something, it'll help them change their mind. What sort of evidence do you need for change but proof that it works, right? And there's a lot of research has gone into this, and to become used to change, what you need to do is go after the smallest and easiest thing to do something different. Don't try and move the boulder, move the pedal. Get used to change. And this ties into the whole Eastern approach of building it up, using kata, using models. In Kung Fu, they use the example of if you walk across a wheat field every day, all through summer, by the end of summer, whilst there will be wheat all around you, there will be a well-trodden path all the way through. And this was exemplified, depending how old you are, on the Karate Kid movie. Right? So if you watch the one in the 80s with Mr. Miyagi and Ralph Macchio, it was wax on, wax off, which is the blocking technique for karate. And then if you watch the Jackie Chan one with Will Smith's son, it's pick the coat up off the floor, which is the Wing Chun blocking technique. But it's that same thing of drilling an action makes that part of you. By making it small and easy, it helps people adopt it, and it allows for consistency across your org. Once that's consistent across your org, that by definition changes your culture because the way you do things has changed. So we can see this happening successfully and unsuccessfully in many places. And it comes down to how much the leadership apply that small behavior change as well. Because I've seen a lot of organizations say we're going Agile and you'll deliver all this work by this date. So they're still living the command and control myth. So that doesn't quite work. I've also seen it where the leadership became Agile, understood Agile, and iteratively and incrementally grew the capability from a small team all the way through the organization, and adopted a sustainable growth approach, focusing on principles, not getting bogged down on dogmatism, framework wars, blah, 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 but instead focused on delivery, focused on empowering their people and the values and principles in place. And so once your leadership understand their accountability of creating the correct environment for their teams, and then adopting small practices to help them do that, then you'll see that shift because it is being lived. It becomes a lived experience. And evidence suggests everything I've seen, every time this happens, team productivity improves. They're more engaged, they're more positive. The amount of stuff they get through is bigger. So everybody's like, we want some of that pie. How did you do that? And they'll go and talk to them. And they're like, oh, we did this and that. And it's bigger than just mechanics. It comes down to values, principles, and demonstration. So I would agree with that. Behaviors drive ultimate change. What's the smallest thing you can do that you can help other people do that's going to help your team be more awesome, that will guide your organization to be more awesome? Be the change you want to see.